I think
Already on it.
he'll join by computer.
You look like you're in a spaceship.
The Millennium Falcon.
I thought it looked familiar.
Yes.
Joe, did you give me back the host?
I'm going to give me 2 seconds. It says this video will need to be disabled or restricted mode. That's weird.
Oh, you're recording, so you're ready to get
Well, it's nice to see you, Carmen. So Zoom works for your camera, but Google Hangouts doesn't.
That's so
But
weird.
I can't get the Google to work.
That's so odd. Yesterday, though, my internet was horrible, and I couldn't participate well in one of my staff meetings. I hope I don't have that problem later today.
Tom,
Joe,
you are live.
Have you made me host yet?
Everybody's
I'm gonna do it right
breaking
now,
out.
sir.
Uh,
Let me make it right now. Sorry about that. Where are you at, Tom?
Santa Fe Public Schools.
Yep. There you are. And we're off to the races.
okay, thank you. I'm just trying to pull up the agenda.
I have it on the screen.
Dr.
Hopefully.
Ryan has it usually. Okay. So we can go ahead and call the meeting to order and do the Pledge of Allegiance in English and in Spanish, as well as the salute to the New Mexico flag in English and in Spanish, and the acknowledgement of tribal land. Actually, I'm sorry. First, I need to do a roll call. Vice President Price is not currently with us, though we do expect her at some point to join. Secretary Garcia is also not currently with us, though he will be joining us as well. Board Member Dr. Gonzalez.
Here.
Board Member Sarah Bose.
Present.
And my name is Kate Noble, and I'm also here. Marvelous. Okay, on the pledge in English and in Spanish, does anybody feel inspired to lead?
I'll lead in English.
Okay, go ahead.
Do we have it up? I
Is it
pledge
not
alle-
showing?
It's
I
not,
don't see it.
no, we don't see your
I mean,
screen.
I think I can say the pledge in English without it, but
I could probably do it in Spanish without it.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do you want me to do it, Madam President? Or do you
Sure,
want to do
you're
it?
willing. Dr. Garcia?
Oh, okay. Juro fidelidad a la bandera de los Estados Unidos de América y a la república que representa una nación bajo Dios indivisible, con libertad y justicia para todos.
Thank you very much. Board Member
I
Bose, yeah, go ahead.
You want me to- I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, the Zia symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures.
Do you want me to do it again, or do you want to do it,
Sure.
Ms. Noble?
Go ahead.
Saludo la bandera del Estado de Nuevo México, el simbología de amistad perfecta entre culturas unidas.
Thank you very much. And I'll do the acknowledgement of tribal land. We acknowledge the original people of the land, the Tesuque Pueblo people and other tribal nations, and ask them to walk with us today as we share and learn together. On to approval of the agenda. If there are no changes, can I have a motion?
So moved. I move approval of the agenda.
I'll second. We'll do a roll call. Board Member Bose,
Yes.
Dr. Gonzalez,
Yes.
and the president votes yes. We have approved the agenda. Thank you. Now, Maybe one of the two of you would make a motion that we move into executive session pursuant to the statutes and items listed on the agenda.
So I move that we move into executive session pursuant to the items listed on the agenda.
I second that. This is Sarah.
Okay, and Josh, you'll let us know if we've done anything wrong, right?
Board President Noel, yes, I think everything's fine.
Okay, thank you. So we'll take a vote on going into executive session. Dr. Gonzalez,
Yes.
Board Member Bozay,
Yes.
and the president votes yes. So we are now in executive session. We'll return to regular session right around 5:30 for anyone who is watching or interested. And for everybody who is joining us in executive session, we'll meet in the other place on the other link. Okay, thank
Okay.
you. See you all soon.
Mhm.
Dr. Gonzalez, you're going to be leaving. You're going to leave this meeting. Dr. Gonzalez, you're going to exit out of this meeting and join the Google Hangout meeting. Linda, can you hear me all right?
Yeah, am I in the right meeting?
You're not. You have to go to the Google Hangout meeting if you're going to executive session.
All right, bye.
Dr. Gonzalez, can you hear me? Or Board Member Bosis?
I think they all left, right?
Yep, they're all back. They're all
Yeah.
up.
Hey, Tom, I'm gonna grab some. A quick dinner.
Call me on the phone since we're recording.
Yep.
Oh, come on. Ah.
Y luego para que me digan que no tengo.
Because, you know, the president wants to do that, and it seems that he's going against his own experts on the medical side in order to push. That's not going forward for the country, and we just thank you so much. And tonight, plans are moving.
Hey, can one of you guys tell me if you can hear me? This is Grace. Sometimes my mic doesn't work.
Hi, Grace. I can hear you.
Okay, fabulous. I can't turn this off. Oh, there we go.
Welcome back, Dr. Gonzalez.
Thank you. Everybody should be here shortly.
Board Member Boces, welcome. Dr. Garcia.
And for the record, as soon as board member, President Noble gets on, Ms. Vice President Price is participating via audio off of my phone. And she'll make her presence known in a second.
I'm here.
Yeah, so just wait for, oh, there's Ms. Noble. Ms. Noble, Ms. Price is on by phone.
Okay. Secretary Garcia, do you want to bring us back from executive session?
Yes, ma'am. Give me a few minutes here so I can figure out what I'm doing here. This is a new life for me. I can't hear him.
It's really low.
Madam President, as the board secretary, item number 2, executive session, I'd like to bring the Board of Education out of executive session, which you talked about. Item A, threatening or pending litigation. Item B, collective bargaining, and which no action was taken.
That's a motion. Is there a second?
I second. This is Sarah.
Thank you very much. We'll do a roll call vote. Vice President Price,
Yes.
Secretary Garcia,
Yes.
Board Member Bose,
Yes.
Dr. Gonzalez,
Yes.
and the president votes yes. We are back from executive session. Thank you very much. Moving on to the introduction of the interpreter, Dr. Garcia.
Thank you, Madam President and members of the board. Dr. James Lujan is available to be interpreter. Alguien que necesita un intérprete, el doctor James Lujan está disponible. Por favor, llame 701-802-5152 y el número para acceso a esta reunión es 42-77-932. Otra vez, 701-802-5152 y el número de acceso es 42-77-932. Gracias.
Thank you very much. Moving on to the union update. It looks as if NEA President Grace Mayer has joined us. Ms. Mayer, welcome.
Hi, good evening. I thought we were doing the presentations first for the ESPs, but I guess we're not. So I have a few comments I'd like to just discuss. I know that it's difficult to talk about what's happening with our budget, and I am just hopeful that we can do everything in our power to maintain the employment of all the employees that we have in Santa Fe Public Schools, and including some of our employees that were discussed at the last meeting that potentially, because of the restrictions in the budget, might be considered to be laid off. So I'm advocating that we do everything in our power to maintain the employment of those dedicated individuals who've chosen Santa Fe Public Schools as their workplace. Some of them have worked for years to move through the ranks of from being a teacher to then moving into director positions or coordinator positions or mentoring positions. Not exactly sure who those individuals are that we're discussing. I know it's all tentative based on even the CARES Act and also the new HEROES Act, which may be used to support our schools. In addition to what happens during the legislative session in June. So I'm, I don't know, 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 I I'm grateful to the board for being sensitive to the concerns of all the employees. And I just hope that we can always side on the side of the employees and maintaining and retaining them. Because I think that in order for us to come back as a community economically, we need to get people back to work, and we need to. I'm sorry. Are you still hearing me? In the classroom.
Yes.
So in order
Yes.
for us to get students in the classroom, we need leadership to help us guide us into that arena. And I'm also offering our, in terms of the educators and our members of our bargaining unit, their expertise in how we can move forward to reopen schools. And so I'm looking forward to having our membership fill out those surveys that was talked about last board meeting about how distance learning worked for them, and then also some open-ended questions about how we can maybe move forward with a hybrid type of schedule, or just advice on what things, what tools and things they need in terms of maintaining sort of that online presence, but also what it looks like when we re-enter the schools. And I think it's going to be critical that we talk to all the employees that are in the district to make those decisions and come to a common sort of plan to move forward. That is it for my union update. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your thoughtfulness. Okay, moving on to public forum. Dr. Garcia, do we have anyone signed up for?
David Carl, do we have anybody signed up?
Board President Noble, Superintendent Garcia, members of the board, we have 2 individuals who have signed up for public forum. I will read those, starting first with Mr. Ryan Klink. His message reads, "Hello, I was on the SFPS website and could not find a meeting agenda for the school board meeting tomorrow." This was sent yesterday. "However, I am wondering, is there a plan being formulated for the fall 2020 school year? Sincerely, concerned parents." That was the first message from Ryan Klink. The second message from Lynette Guevara. "SFPS School Board. If remote learning needs to continue into the fall, elementary school children grades K through 5 need a more developmentally appropriate platform than Canvas. Students this age generally do not have the executive functioning skills to navigate multiple websites through a myriad of open tabs without consistent and often constant assistance from an adult. Many working parents in the district don't have the bandwidth to daily be at their child's side, helping them navigate the instruction being provided to both them and their children from multiple sources. A more age-appropriate platform for this age group that was successfully used by some of elementary school teachers this spring is Seesaw. Along with a large variety of content and easy ways to video conference, Seesaw also has excellent communication tools for teachers to communicate with both students and parents. Classrooms at Acequia Madre that switched to Seesaw watched their teachers, students, and parents go from frustrated to engaged and experience continued learning and growth once they switched, according to some Acequia Madre teachers and parents. According to the SFPS April board meeting notes, around 600 students were already using Seesaw in the district. The end number was likely higher. So there is already momentum and a recognized need, plus teachers and digital coaches are already versed in using it. Please consider making this district-wide switch to Seesaw for grades 1 through 5 in the fall if remote learning is going to continue. I believe a switch to a more developmentally appropriate platform would reduce stress and increase well-being and learning for all students in the district. Thank you for considering this request. Lynette Guevara, Carlos Gilbert, elementary parent." And then we did just recently receive a third from Julie Fuller Sloan. It says, "Congratulations to Miss Michelle Barnard from her students at Desuke Elementary. You are so amazing." And that is it for public forum.
Board President,
Board President Noble, Board Member, Vice President Price wanted to say something.
No, I just wanted to get on with the meeting.
Oh. Board President, are you on? Board President Noble, are you on? David, Carl, can you hear me?
Dr. Garcia, it would appear that Board President Noble's image is no longer in the meeting.
Okay, so she might have gotten knocked off. Vice President Price, looks like Board President Noble may have gotten kicked off the meeting. The next item is board announcements and follow-up. Ms. Price, would you like to go to that next?
Sure, please.
Is there
I have no announcements.
Is there any other board announcement or follow-up?
Not for me, Carmen.
Okay,
This is Sarah, not from me.
Mr. Garcia?
I'm sorry, Superintendent.
Is there any board announcement or follow-up that you might have?
I just want to thank the Santa Fe School District, yourself, your team, the school board for doing an excellent job as into where we're at, what we're doing. I know there's other larger school districts in the state that are a little bit behind the curveball, but I know we have some challenges that we deal with as into my district, as into the Los Angeles area, as in T-Mobile does not get proper service in the valley there, but your team has actually called some of those teachers and has worked with them. And I think we're actually doing an excellent job in the state of New Mexico. And I appreciate you and your team as well as our board. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary Garcia. We appreciate that. So we'll go.
Can we move on?
Yes, Madam President, Vice President, shall we go to Superintendent's announcements next?
Please.
Okay, Superintendent's announcements. First of all, I'd like to announce the Toyota Scholarship winners. These seniors received $2,000 scholarships from Toyota based on winning essays. Capital High, Sierra Rodriguez, and Oscar Sandoval Torres. From Santa Fe High, Gabriela Armendaris, Summer Armijo Rutuno, Ariana Calderon, Maya Holder, and Oisin O'Connell. ATC, Violin Campos, Liam Mitchell, and Mackenzie Valerio. Before we go on, I do want to comment that we are fortunate that our executive director of special education is been selected to be on the state committee for reentry, planning the reentry of schools. The Secretary of Education has put forth a task force that will advise him. I sent some commentary to the Secretary. I'm sure they'll take comments. I know that the president of NEA indicated that we need to get input from our stakeholders, and we definitely do. I do think, though, that the guidance will be provided from the state as to when we open and how we open. And I see a note from Ms. Noble that says her status has changed. I'm here but unable to be heard or seen. Let me see if I can follow you on chat. I think I need to be added as a panelist again. Alma, if you can hear, can you add Ms. Noble on as a panelist, or Tom, can you
I will.
assist
Yep, I'll
putting
take
her on? And so Tom, he's going to do that, Ms. Noble, and we'll continue to go on with my announcements. So we will keep everybody posted as to that state task force and how they intend to take input. But I highly believe that a lot of those decisions for us on reopening will be made at a state level. If there is room, go ahead.
Joyce,
Yes, ma'am.
have we properly thanked Toyota for this very generous scholarship?
Absolutely. We will be sending, I'm sure the high schools have, but we'll be sending them letters from the district.
Thank you.
Summer food services, Ms. Wagner? I will go ahead and announce that shifting to summer feeding program after Memorial Day, we're dropping 2 sites, Aspen and Santa Fe High School. We're sticking to the Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule. Additionally, we will continue to coordinate with the city, county, and nonprofit partners who will continue their food delivery programs in areas of greatest need. And Ms. Mayor, I believe that you will be added when your presentation, when you come back on for presentation. But Dr. Ryan, will you note Ms. Mayor's comment? And now it's time to see a short video montage from Teaching and Learning. Tom and David.
So I'm going to click there. You're going to get to your virtual field trip in Carlsbad, and you can really listen to your park ranger. You can visit the caves and move around. I really encourage you to explore as much as possible.
On the Lupe Mountains of southern New Mexico lies a place millions of years in the making.
Within here, you can tell, again, I'm just holding down my mouse and I'm really kind of just exploring this awesome cave. Do you remember what these formations are called? What are they called when they grow from the bottom, and what are they called when they grow from the top?
Oops.
Okay, are we done with that, Dr. Ryan? So just a little montage, a little idea of different things going on in the classroom. It's pretty interesting. I wanted to, participate in that egg experiment. That looked pretty interesting. Next on the remote learning survey, Tom and Neil.
We have the second of our surveys that have been done. We had the first one in the fall, the second one in the spring. We sent it out starting yesterday. It's part of what our contract was at the beginning of the year, and we have over 2,000 people that have already answered. It has 5 different categories: elementary students, secondary students, teachers, parents, and principals. And we will close that another 5 days, and we'll take and tally up the results. It's also a national survey that's being conducted by the International Society of Technology and Education. So we'll be able to compare ourselves to other school districts across the country.
I would like to share with you that we have some pretty exciting news. The graduation rates have substantially increased. I hope you've seen the press release. We've hardly talked about it, but Santa Fe Public Schools graduation rate is now at 78% that are in the 4-year cohort. We're super excited about that. And it was a 3% gain over the state, a 5% gain in the district since 2016. And this is really remarkable growth. And if you recall, probably President Noble and, well, the board members who are still on, remember when I told you we were going to take a dip when we tightened up on Edgenuity, and we said, we're just not going to let kids just go through, willy-nilly and not ensuring that they really earned those credits. And we upped the rigor, and we did dip 1 year, but we have steadily increased, and we have surpassed what we had put in our strategic plan. Since 2016, the district's 4-year graduation rate has increased 9% in the last 4 years. Graduation rates for Hispanic, Native American, and economically disadvantaged students and students with disabilities also exceed statewide graduation rates for those students. And actually for Native American students, we have the highest graduation rate as well as achievement rate. Asian students and English language learners had lower graduation rates when compared to rates for those students statewide. And so we are going to continue to look at our data. We're not going to rest until all of our subgroups are meeting high levels. Executive Director of Special Ed, Julie Lucero, notes that our special ed population showed an increase of 10% from 2018 to up to 2019. And I want to just share a few comments. I'm so proud of just the entire district. It takes all of us working together, but particularly the school staffs at all of these high schools, the principals, and the individuals that supervise those schools. I'd like to just share a few of the comments for all of our schools. Also, Larry Chavez, who supervises Capitol High and Santa Fe High, and the Academy, Linda Sink, who supervises Mandela, and Christy Wagner, who supervises ECO. Capitol High and Santa Fe High posted their highest graduation rate in 3 years, with Capitol rate growing from 70 to 78% over 3 years, and Santa Fe High's rate growing from 68 to 77%. And I just want to share a few comments. We will give you a very in-depth presentation on graduation rates in June. But Ms. Holliday said our increase in our graduation rate is a testament to the hard work and dedication that both students and staff put forth every day. As a school community, we work to build relationships with students while simultaneously delivering content. This coupled with support from groups such as Communities in Schools and the implementation of AVID strategies school-wide have contributed to their improvement in graduation rates. And they're very proud and of the growth, but realize they have gains to make. Mr. Morano said, I want to personally thank our admin team, our classroom teachers, our support staff, and all who are part of our amazing team at Santa Fe High. It's truly an honor to work with a group of dedicated professionals who continue to put students first. Their unselfish compassion, dedication, and desire for our students is unmatched. They are true professionals. We will continue to working on increasing this upward trend. Mr. Hagley from ECO, he said ECO is improving student outcomes by integrating core standards, the Santa Fe attributes of a graduate, and industry-specific skills in our learning experiences. We are focusing on providing actionable feedback to students so they can practice and improve their proficiency in each of these areas. And Ms. Braden said, congratulations, students and staff at the Academy and Engage. Your success attests that the staff's unrelenting focus on student success and graduation. The individualized program of study supports the needs of all students and provides a safe and encouraging environment for them to succeed. And I have to tell you that I think our graduation rates for next year will be even higher than this year, that additional time that we received to June 19th. But this year, I see an even stronger connection between the district and the school sites and monitoring each and every single senior to do everything we can to get them to graduate. Next, so congratulations, everybody. That's fabulous news for the Santa Fe Public Schools. And the fact that we're exceeding the state average, I have to tell you, I'm just so proud of our teachers, our counselors, everybody that's making this happen. My hat's off to all of you. I couldn't be prouder. June polling locations. The Santa Fe County Bureau of Elections will use Santa Fe Public Schools school sites for the June primary election. All the schools have exterior gym access. We will not allow the public to enter the main building and will disinfect after the recommended wait period long before Santa Fe public staff and students return to school. Those polling sites will be El Camino Real, Gonzales, Nino Otero, Salazar, and Tesuque. Depending on the status of this pandemic, the Bureau of Elections may add more schools for the November election. That concludes the superintendent's updates and announcements. Madam President.
Thank you very much, Dr. Garcia. And thank you, Vice President Price, for stepping in. That was super surreal because I could hear and see everything, but apparently you couldn't hear and see me.
I'm your Scotty to your Michael Jordan.
Yes, exactly. Okay, moving on to presentations. I'm pondering, and I don't know if any board members have strong feelings, I'm pondering whether we should do the readoption resolution before the presentations, as Art is waiting, Art Melendres is waiting in the wings, and I don't know how, are the presentations long? Sorry, Vice President Price, what was your view?
I think that's a good idea.
Okay, that's all I need. If it pleases, if there are no objections from the board, may we please do action item A, the readoption of resolution 2019/2020-8, authorizing the issuance and lease purchase arrangement of Educational Technology Note Series 2020 in the amount of $11 million. And just to say, after this, we would go back to the presentations because Kathy Johnner is also waiting to clearly talk to us about the chamber's work there. But moving on to action item A, Dr. Garcia.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. I believe you introduced this appropriately, and I will turn this over to our CFO, Germán Martinez, and to our bond counsel, Mr. Art Melendres.
Good evening, Board President Noble, board members, Superintendent Dr. Garcia, staff, and community. This is the re-adoption. So we did adopt this previously at a previous board meeting. Due to some scheduling conflicts, there was a need to have this readopted since the window for the ETN is required to maintain 30 days. And so this was required to extend that window as far as being able to have the sale and the issuance of the education technology note. And so this is just a re-adoption of the resolution that was approved at the previous board meeting.
Madam President,
Yes, Secretary Garcia.
move for approval.
This is Carmen, I second it.
Great. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, we'll do a roll call vote. Let's start with Board Member Bose this time.
I vote yes.
Dr. Gonzalez,
Yes.
Secretary Garcia,
Yes.
Vice President Price,
Yes.
and the president votes yes. We've approved the resolution. Thank you very much.
Madam President, do you want
Thank
to
you
go,
very much.
do you want to go through item B really quick since so that we staff they can leave or not for consent?
I
didn't understand anything he said.
You actually want to hear item B really quick since we're on the action items?
Well, there's quite a few going down the action items, and I had at least one question on the consent agenda. So I'm sorry, I didn't realize, I don't know who you said was going to leave, but I'd prefer to get to our presentations if that's all right.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you very much. On to presentations. Every day it matters, and it's good to see you, Kathy. Thank you for being here. I'm guessing you're taking the lead, or Dr. Garcia, do you want to introduce the item?
Yes, thank you, Madam President, members of the board. We have enjoyed a wonderful partnership with the Santa Fe Chamber of Commerce and our Department of Community Engagement. And Ms. Johnner is here today to give the awards, and we're very excited about this. Also, I believe we have a PowerPoint presentation that David Carl, our Chief Community Engagement Officer, is going to show. So David, if you and Ms. Johnner would like to take the presentation from here, we're all ready to participate. Thank you.
Absolutely. We want to thank the Santa Fe Chamber of Commerce for putting this all together, and go ahead and move forward with the presentation.
Thank you, Dr. Garcia, and school board members and everyone who's attending the meeting today. I am Kathy Johnner, and I'm with the Santa Fe Chamber of Commerce, and I've coordinated the Everyday Matters program since it started. I give special thanks to Santa Fe Chamber President and CEO Bridget Dixon. The Everyday Matters program, which encourages excellence in attendance, was held for the 4th year. And I did a quick calculation, and there's several $1,000s worth of prizes that have been given so far in this program. And I want to extend thanks to program sponsor and chamber member El Castillo Life Plan Community. All Santa Fe Public School students received a flyer about the program at the start of the year. I think they had 12,000 printed. The names of students.
Yes.
I just go ahead and say her name, please.
Kathy Johnner with the Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. The names of students in grades K through 12 who didn't miss more than 2 days this school year were entered into a drawing. I am pleased to announce the names of 2 students in every grade who will receive a prize worth a minimum of $100, thanks to generous donations received from chamber members and local businesses and business people. Because of the virus, obviously schools closed early, so we use the attendance of as March 1st for the drawings. And I'm happy to announce to you the names of the students who are going to receive a prize. Kindergarten, Albert Staley, Wood Gormley Elementary. Rio Hendry, Aseke Madre Elementary School. 1st grade, Daniel Romero, Ramirez Thomas Elementary School. Joseph Taranjo, El Camino Real Academy Community School. 2nd grade, Sonam Gatsa, Nina Otero Community School. Allison Lopez Juarez, El Camino Real Academy Community School. 3rd grade, Lila West, Atalaya Elementary School, and Emily Estevez Miranda, Pinon Elementary. 4th grade, Ricardo Martinez, Cesar Chavez Elementary School, Kylie Lynn Ruiz, Carlos Gilbert Elementary School. 5th grade, Emilio Sandoval, Aspen Community Magnet School, Angelina V. Hill, Kearney Elementary School. 6th grade, Gabriela Chavez from Gonzalez Community School, Angie Perez Ovida, Salazar Elementary. 7th grade, Lillian Romero, ATC Charter School, Angel Lopez Vargas, Ortiz Middle School. 8th grade, Ashley Hernandez, El Camino Real Academy Community School, Sofia Silva Martinez, Gonzalez Community School. 9th grade, Colin Cox, Santa Fe High, and Serena Sandoval, ATC Charter School. 10th grade, Omar Rodriguez, ATC Charter School, Kevin Dominguez, Santa Fe High. 11th grade, Luis Barbosa, Santa Fe High School, and Alejandro Romero, Early College Opportunities. 12th grade, Mackenzie Velrio, ATC Charter School, and Lena McGrew, Zia Behavior School. And I also would like to give special thanks to the program sponsors, obviously El Castillo and the Santa Fe Chamber, and to the prize sponsors, Century Bank, Daniel Quat Photography, DC Knits, El Castillo Life Plan Community, H&R Block, Lexus of Santa Fe, Evelyn McClure with the Santa Fe Women's Club, Museum of New Mexico Foundation, Plaza Cafe Southside, Casada, Jacobs Family Agency Allstate, Rivera Funeral Home, the Santa Fe New Mexican, US Bank, White and Love Financial, and especially thank you to Dr. Veronica Garcia, the Superintendent of Santa Fe Schools. We appreciate your sponsorship very much. We extend special congratulations to the students. We wish we could be there with every one of them and award them the prizes tonight. It's always the most fun time of the year for me and this program. But we are making special arrangements for the students to receive them in a week or two or a couple of weeks when it's safe that we can get them the prizes without jeopardizing anyone's health. Dr. Garcia, we want to thank you for all that you do. We at the Santa Fe Chamber of Commerce are happy to work with you and the Santa Fe Public Schools in projects, announcing information to the community, and certainly a lot of other activities. We look forward to working closely with you in the future. It's been an honor and a privilege for me to have coordinated the Everyday Matters program again this year. And I thank you, and I wish that you all stay well and that you enjoy good health until this miserable virus is over. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Johnner, for all you do and your tenacity to keep this program going. We greatly appreciate you and greatly appreciate the partnership with the Santa Fe Community Chamber of Commerce. Thank you so much.
Thank you for this opportunity to present the information.
Madam
Thank you,
President, this is
Ms.
Rudy.
Johnner, and to all of the sponsors and everyone at the chamber who I know works hard and harder this year than ever to pull it all together. We really appreciate your efforts. Secretary Garcia.
Really quick, thank you to the chamber. Appreciate the work that you do for the community, all the voters out there, the sponsors especially. And Dr. Garcia, is there a possibility we can actually send a letter to all these sponsors and to all of your team and the parents and the students as we thanking the sponsors. Thank you for what you do for our community. We're a close-knit community, and I appreciate what the community does. And so if we can send a personal letter from you or the board on that, I totally appreciate that. Thank you once again. Mrs. Jenner.
I will be happy to give you the contact names of the people with whom I've worked so that if you decide you'd like to do that, I'd be happy to work with you.
Thank you, Ms. Johnner.
Okay, moving on to our next presentation, Teacher of the Month and Educational Service Provider of the Month. Dr. Garcia.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. We're so fortunate to be able to recognize the Teacher of the Month, and that is sponsored through NACENDA, and the Educational Support Professional of the Month, sponsored by NEA Santa Fe. And so we're going to start with the Teacher of the Month, and David is going to run the PowerPoint. This again, all is coordinated out of the Office of Community Engagement. And do we have June Manning here today from NUSENDA?
Board President Noble, Superintendent Garcia, members of the board. Ms. Manning was with us but had to leave on a work call.
Okay, so I will go ahead and read, even though it's all up there, but I know Ms. Price is listening. But I want to, normally when we go, it's so much fun. We go into their classroom, they don't know we're there. Sometimes the principal might have a ruse, right, where they'll have an assembly. They'll think they're doing one thing and we're actually there. And we come in with balloons and a gift card. And what did they get, David, this time around? They get a gift certificate or a gift card for how much?
$50.
A $50 gift card and a plaque, like a trophy.
Yeah, a plaque and a certificate.
NUSENDA, and then balloons, and there's usually a cake. And so we're really sorry that we can't do all of that, but I know NUSENDA will be getting your prize. So the Teacher of the Month for March is from Tesuque Elementary, Michelle Barnard. And Cheryl Romero said, Ms. Barnard has been working with children for over 2 decades. Her passion for teaching is unlimited. Each day she comes to school with a wide smile, lighting up the classroom. Ms. Barnard doesn't approach her teaching as just a job. It's a true reflection of her personality and character. She is a true example of a lifelong learner. Each day she strives to perfect her craft. Her energy and dedication shine through each lesson she delivers. Teaching and learning are at the core of her being. Anyone who has been able to see Mrs. Barnard in action will be able to profess her high quality teaching skills. Congratulations. And is she here on the Zoom?
No, ma'am, she would be watching via the YouTube link.
All right, so congratulations. Yay, Ms. Barnard. We're very proud of you. Okay, next.
As a quick point of privilege, if I may, Ms. Michelle, whose last name I didn't actually know until right now, was a preschool teacher of my child for a number of years. And I would say that what the principal said, what Ms. Romero said about Ms. Michelle is very, very true. And I will never forget how enthusiastic and welcoming and contagious she was in terms of her love of learning for my young child, who's much older now, but having had a personal experience with this one, and I know we have so many great teachers out there, but Michelle certainly is a wonderful teacher.
Yay. And I want to say that every time we go into the classrooms and meet these people, their students are so excited, their faculty colleagues are so excited, and we just really do have gems in both all of our ranks and all of the different areas. So the next Teacher of the Month for April is Mayit Gerdner from Capitol High School. And would you like to read this one, David?
I'd be happy to. So Jamie Holliday, principal at Capitol High School, said, Maita Gardner is a national board certified teacher. She teaches English, language arts, and AVID at Capitol High School, where she's been since 2012. Mrs. Gardner is the National Honor Society advisor, and she also collaborates with community members to bring poets into the classroom through the Real Fathers program. Mrs. Gardner was voted as Sophomore Teacher of the Year this year. Her passion for teaching, dedication to her craft, and commitment to her students are inspiring.
So congratulations to you, Ms. Gerdner. We're very proud of you, and yay, so happy for you.
Hey.
Very good. We're all cheering you on. Let's go on to the next one. Our teacher of the month for May is Aviva Markowitz from Amyville Community School. Said Felicia Torres, principal. Ms. Aviva, as she is known by her students, rises to challenges, takes on extra duties at our school site, and participates in a professional community with her grade level colleagues, as well as participating in the Transformation Leadership Initiative as a team leader. She is currently a graduate student at the UNM College of Education in the Language, Literacy, Sociocultural Studies program. Aviva leads our school's culture and literacy night annually, working with colleagues, community members, and outside organizations to take part in this community event. Aviva has a willingness to learn new ideas and best practices for teaching, new curriculum, and a capacity to change plans as needed to meet the needs of her students. Congratulations, Ms. Markowitz. Yay, so proud of you.
Yay.
So thank you to Nusenda that makes this award possible. And Grace Mayer, are you here? It looks like you're muted. Can you unmute? Grace, there she is. All right, so let's go to the next award. And so NEA has partnered with us on picking the Employee Support Professional of the Month. Would you like to introduce Julia from Cesar Chavez and read about her? Or would you like us to do it? Whatever you prefer.
David, if you want to read it, and then at the end, I just want to make a comment for all three of them.
I think that sounds great. I'd be happy to. All right, so as we mentioned, the ESP of the month for March was Julia Ornelas from Cesar Chavez. Said Amanda Chavez, principal, Julia is more of a teacher than an ESP for our school. She's dedicated to the students and is always willing to make their experience wonderful. My favorite memory of Julia was when we were going to have a Halloween parade where our students parade through the hallways showing off their costumes. When Julia saw that all the students in life skills did not show up in costumes, she immediately got to work and made every student a costume out of, out of butcher paper and supplies around the classroom. One student in her class had the best costume and walked through the halls with so much pride. She's dedicated and works to do what is best for our kiddos without being asked to.
Yay, isn't that wonderful?
Yay.
Congratulations, Julia. All right, next.
All right, next, the ESP of the month for April is Veronica Armenta from Sweeney Elementary School. Said Ana Plaza, assistant principal, Veronica was born in Delicias in the state of Chihuahua, Mexico. She is a loving wife and a loving, dedicated mother of 2 children. For her, family comes first. Spending quality time with family is a priority. Veronica is very spiritual. She also volunteers at her church. The same dedication that she has for her family, she also demonstrates at work with the kindergarten students she works with and with all the staff. She has been a bilingual educational assistant at Sweeney for about 16 years. She's a role model for her peers with regard to professionalism, ethics, and respect. Sweeney is very lucky to have her.
Yay, Miss Armenta.
Congratulations.
And for May, Angela Martinez from Student Nutrition. Said Betsy Cole, Director of Student Nutrition, since day one, she's been nothing but helpful. She's had a great whenever and wherever you need me attitude. She's also been very flexible. If I had scheduled her in one place and then needed to move her to a different site, never a problem, just a quote, how can I help attitude. It has been very much appreciated in these challenging times.
Yay, Angela Martinez. We're very proud of you.
Yay, congratulations.
Yay.
And I want to say that NEA President Grace Mayer, it was actually her idea to really focus specifically on student nutrition for May as well. And I think that was a really great call and very important right now.
Yes, and also I would say that our educational support professionals are the wind beneath our wings, right? They're there supporting the teachers or people in various classrooms and in this instance, food services. And that was a great idea. And thank you to all of them. And they represent, I think the heart and soul of the employee, the educational support employees. Ms. Mayer.
Yes, the National Education Association of Santa Fe is proud to represent the majority of educational support professionals that work for Santa Fe Public Schools. These ESPs are in a unique position to support our students as well as our families. Our EAs in the classroom, our educational assistants in the classroom often assist with academics, as well as our EBAs, who work for our SPED department, help with behavioral challenges as well. Our secretaries, our ESPs in our offices answer phone calls. They register students. They order school supplies and work for the staff as well. They have to constantly be in contact with parents, and for that we appreciate them. Our bus drivers and bus assistants transport our children safely to and from. Our bus assistants often work with our younger kids and certainly have to interact with the parents when dropping them off and picking them up. And all the other folks in the transportation that assist in their care as well. Our librarians and library assistants, our nurses and nurses aides, and health assistants, and especially in these difficult times, our cafeteria and nutrition workers who have been on the front lines assisting students. For all your work, we are exceptionally grateful. NEA wants to know that you are appreciated and you're an integral part of our public schools. And on behalf of our memberships, we thank you. So, in addition to your certificates, which we'll mail to you, this is Veronica's and this is Angela's. We also will provide you with a $50 gift card and a t-shirt. This is it.
Yay.
Okay. This was designed by me, and I am very happy to and honored to present it to you. And we want to again acknowledge all that you do for our schools. We really wouldn't function without you. And I think we need to really underscore how much you are really the heart and soul of our schools in a lot of ways. Obviously, as a teacher, I honor our teachers as well, and I appreciate their good work. And so I'm happy to be part of this initiative to support both our teachers of the month and our ESPs of the month. So congratulations.
Thank you, Ms. Mayor. And again, congratulations, everybody. And that concludes this part of our presentations, Madam President.
Thank you very much, Dr. Garcia. Thank you, Ms. Mayor, and a huge thank you to all the teachers and educational support professionals and the heart and soul of the district. There it is. I don't think anybody can say it better than that. We really appreciate all that you do and for being a part of the Santa Fe Public School District team. Okay, moving on to our action items. We have taken care of action item A. So we are on action item B, the consent agenda. I believe we were all present for the May 5th regular meeting. Is that correct? Do we need to consider that separately for the minutes? Hearing no news to that effect, we'll go ahead. I had one question about the budget adjustment request, which is there are two very large ones that are basically plugged as budgeting for the cash balance. And I was hoping, Dr. Garcia, you could provide a brief explanation. One is to increase the operational budget by $776,000 to budget the audited cash balance for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2019. And the other one, I think I might be able to guess at, but food services, increasing the budget to budget the audited cash balance.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. The first one is the Los Solares land sale. And I referenced that last week as we looked at balancing the budget from non-recurring revenue. The second one, we have talked about that we have been keeping our food services or nutrition services employees on the payroll, right, through the pandemic, but we are only serving roughly 2,000 meals a day versus 10,000. And so we're not being reimbursed for those meals, yet we are paying for these employees. And so that right now, until we decide how we're going to use the CARES Act funding, right, for all the various contingencies that we have to think about, we need to move that money out of the cash balance.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other board members have questions on the consent agenda?
Go back one, Los Solares.
Yes.
Could you explain that, please?
So if you recall, in the fall, the board approved the sale, or we worked out on that. That was owed to us. It was an agreement that had been made for many years. And it was time for them to pay us a final payment that had not been paid. That money, okay, and then we received the money, but we really did not put it in a line item. And at this point in time, we are budgeting that money so that we can use it for non-recurring revenue.
Thank you.
Madam President,
Yeah, go ahead.
move for approval, please, of the consent agenda.
Okay, we have a motion for approval from Secretary Garcia. Is there a second?
This is Sarah. I'll second that.
Okay.
Ms. Price second, I think before Ms. Bose, just there's a time lag.
Okay. Any further discussion or questions? Okay, we'll do a roll call vote. Vice President Price,
Yes.
Secretary Garcia,
Yes.
Dr. Gonzalez,
Yes, I was on mute. Sorry.
no worries. Board Member Bose,
Yes.
and the president votes yes. We've approved the consent agenda. On the state bilingual item C, under the action item, state bilingual multicultural education program funding application for 2021. Dr. Garcia.
Thank you, Madam President. Linda Sink, Deputy Superintendent and Director of our Multicultural and Bilingual Department, Lisa Vigil, are here. My understanding is this is just a standard application that we have to submit that requires board approval, but they are here to stand for questions that the board might have.
Madam President, it's Rudy.
Go ahead, Secretary Garcia.
Move for approval.
Okay, we have a motion.
I second it. This is Carmen.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, we'll start with you on the roll call vote this time. Secretary Garcia,
Yes.
Dr. Gonzalez,
Yes.
Board Member Bose,
Yes.
Vice President Price,
Yes.
and the president votes yes. Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much.
Thank you, Madam President.
Moving on to action item D, approval of the 2021 Title III English Language Acquisition Local Plan and Application, approval of the consortium between the Santa Fe Public Schools and Taos International. Dr. Garcia.
Thank you, Madam President, and members of the board. Again, we are submitting our Title III English Language Acquisition Local Plan and Application. The Taos International Charter School requested to be a part of our application as part of this consortium. This is not unusual. I think this is, I think Deputy Superintendent Zink explained to me that this is, I think, our third year. But again, just as a previous item, these applications that we submit annually require board approval. Deputy Superintendent Zink and Director Vigil are here to stand for any questions.
Madam President, this is Rudy. Move for approval.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
This is Sarah. I second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? We will start this time with Dr. Gonzalez,
Yes.
Board Member Bozay,
Yes.
Vice President Price,
Yes.
Secretary Garcia. Secretary Garcia,
I couldn't hear you. I'm sorry.
we're voting on the item you moved
Oh.
to approve.
Yes.
Vote. Okay, and the president votes yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Moving on to action item E, Santa Fe Public Schools ESEA Consolidated Application, Titles 1, 2, and 4, Part A. Dr.
Thank you.
Garcia.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. Like the other two, this also is a lot of times we call the Title I application, but really it includes those other entitlements. Deputy Superintendent Sink and Director of our ESEA programs, Ryan Cooper, are here to answer any questions. Again, this is our annual application that requires board approval. They are here to stand for questions.
Madam President, this is Rudy. Move for approval.
This is
Okay.
Carmen. I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, we'll start with Board Member Bozay this time.
I vote yes.
Vice President Price,
Yes.
Secretary Garcia,
I vote yes.
Dr. Gonzalez,
Yes.
and the president votes yes. Thank you very much.
Madam President, if it would be the pleasure of the board, may we do item G since it's also a pro forma application before we go to approval of the ATC budget?
Yes, great idea. Item G, IDEA Part B, Basic Entitlement and Preschool Entitlement Subgrant Authorization for 2021. Dr. Garcia.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. As you just stated, this is the Part B part of IDEA, which is special education. And again, this is an annual application that requires board approval. Deputy Sink and Executive Director Julie Lucero are available to ask any questions. We hope that you will vote yes.
Madam
I
President,
move
thank you.
approval.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion from Dr. Gonzalez, a second from Secretary Garcia. Any further discussion? Vice President Price,
Yes.
Secretary Garcia,
Vote yes.
Dr. Gonzalez,
Yes.
Board Member Bozay,
Yes.
and the president votes yes. Thank you very much. Now moving back to action item F, approval of ATC 2021 budget. Dr. Garcia.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. For the new board members, Santa Fe Public Schools, as all school districts, can be a charter authorizer, just as the Public Education Commission. There are two authorizers in the state of New Mexico, and the board as the authorizer for the Academy Technology for the Classics, ATC. And with that, we have the responsibility to ensure that they follow all regulations and statutes and whatnot. We also need to make sure that their budget is sound. We also monitor their financial standing. Any audits that are on their budget are issues for our budget. And with that, before they can submit their budget to the, I guess it's to the Public Education Department, it requires approval, I believe, from their governing council and then from the authorizer, which is you, the Board of Education. Our CFO, Germán Martinez, has been working with him. And at this point, I will turn it over to him, and then he will also introduce whoever is presenting this budget from ATC. Mr. Martinez.
Good evening, Board President Noble, board members, Superintendent, Dr. Garcia, administrative staff. I believe Susan Lumley is going to be joining and will be available for any comments from the charter school. I had an extensive meeting and conversation with Christine Garcia, who is the business manager for ATC in regards to the budget and what was included in their budget. There were not any significant changes as far as the budget allocation from one year to the next. There were a couple of items that want to highlight as far as what their budget does include for the fiscal year 2020-2021. In their operational budget, they have approximately a $3.1 million budget in just the operational fund. And with that, they're carrying over approximately 18 to 20% in cash funds. And so this has been a continuation from the prior year. They've been able to establish that as a healthy cash balance and partly use that, I think, in this year for some of their capital projects, but are intending to maintain that cash balance. As you know, some of the smaller entities don't necessarily have the cash flow to maintain any of their operations. So they are planning to keep that cash balance and not use that for any non-recurring expenditures at this point. There is a couple of other items that were noted in their budget. They haven't received a couple of grants from the state yet. And so they do anticipate that once those grants are received, they will be included in their budget for this next fiscal year. One of those grants or appropriations is from the Public School Capital Outlay Council, which allows for the lease assistance program. And typically that's received in the fall by the charter. And so once they do receive that, that will also be included in their budget. The other item that was still needing to be finalized, they did receive a initial grant, a pilot grant this year as well, that needs to be reauthorized or reapproved by the PED. And then lastly, there was an allocation from the from the last legislative session for some capital projects, and it seems that those funds were also frozen, and they will not be allowed to utilize those funds until the freezing period at the state level is released. So with that, I'll let Susan Lumley make any additional comments on the budget.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board, and Dr. Garcia. We are very pleased to provide this budget to you. It looks like we'll have $480,000 cash balance rolling over. We did receive a $75,000 capital outlay appropriation that has been frozen. That was to be used for safety and security. And we will, wait to see what happens with that. But we feel like we can weather this storm that's coming our way this year and next with this cash balance that we have budgeted, but we are not necessarily going to spend.
Ms. Price wanted to say something, Madam President.
Please go ahead, Vice President.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about your cash balance. What percentage of your budget is your cash balance?
Well, it's $480,000, and our operational budget is 3.1. I think that's about 20 to 25%.
Okay, and can you explain the storm you see coming?
The storm will be the, when the legislature meets and, we are all predicting that maybe not this year, but next year, there may be some serious cuts, and we feel like we're in a good position to not have to cut services for children.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the board?
Madam President, I have a couple of questions, comments.
Go ahead, Secretary Garcia.
If I believe I'm right, Ms. Lumley actually is going to be retiring, I believe, and excellent educator. And thank you for taking ATC to its different level, because we did have some challenges regarding the budget in the last year or two. And Ms. Garcia, as well as other individuals, actually did an excellent job as in bringing that budget to par. And ATC, the actually #1 charter school in the state. Wow, excellent job. Congratulations on that, Ms. Lumley. It's great to have that charter school in Santa Fe, and once again, excellent job. In regards to the cash reserves, I would just want to caution ATC as into, just figure out where you have those cash reserves, because we don't want the state legislator to take those cash reserves. So just spend it wisely and do what you need to do. I appreciate the cash reserves, because in the past there was a questionable as to whether or not we did have cash reserves for ATC school. But thank you for bringing your audit and everything else up to par. Appreciate that. And this in regards to the grants that we have from the state legislature, unfortunately, every single grant is possibly frozen in the state of New Mexico. So just once again, thank you for what you've done for the school. #1 charter school in the state. Thank you. Appreciate that, Madam President.
Thank you so much.
Yes, and so I was going to ask, this is your last year. This is the time of retirement, almost the moment. Is that correct?
Actually, June 1st, Mr. Morgan, my assistant principal, will take over as principal. I am staying on until September 30th as just a consultant to try to help get us through this, whatever comes our way with however school may look with COVID. So I do have a few more months at school, but not as the principal.
Well, congratulations. And echoing what Secretary Garcia said, I think it's quite an achievement. And I know that there's a lot of confidence in your successor. And so, best wishes to you, and it's a good transition strategy. So, yeah, congratulations. And I believe Vice President Price was trying to speak up.
Yes, Susan, this is Lorraine. We've known each other for a number of years, and so for the years you put in the Santa Fe Public Schools, and the excellent job that you have done at ATC, I'm really proud of you. And I just want to thank you for your years of service. Sometimes not always appreciated where they should have been.
Thank you, Board Member Price. I really appreciate those words. You and I have known each other for a really long time and have, like I said, survived many storms, as you might say.
Let's hope we're heading for a vibrant spring.
I love it.
Madam President, if I may.
Go ahead, Dr. Garcia.
Yes, I just want to wish you the best. Susan, I know it's tough to be a charter school lead. It's like running a little district, and you have to do everything that a superintendent does. It's just at a school, one school, but it's tough doing both of those. And my hat is off to you. And I who knows what the future will bring. I've retired multiple times, and here I am again. So our paths could really cross at some point, and so I hope that whatever it is, that you continue to do it in good health and do enjoy a little bit of time off. And you should be very proud that you're leaving ATC in such tremendous high standing, and it's a legacy work, right? And you should be very proud. And it's been a joy working with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Superintendent Garcia. It's been a pleasure to work with Santa Fe Public Schools as well as a district charter. You've always been very supportive of ATC, and I would say the last 9 years at ATC has been some of the highlights of my career, and I'm leaving with a little sadness with this departure via COVID. But like you said, our paths may cross again. I'm not finished, I don't think.
You probably aren't.
Okay, what
Madam
is the pleasure of the board?
Madam President, as long as the staff is okay with their audit and their budget, as Edwin said, so I make a motion for approval.
I'll go ahead and second that. And I would say I also appreciate the engagement through the audit committee and on working through the questions and any issues that arise during the audit process. Any further discussion?
Did you look at my second?
Actually, Ms. Price, Ms. Noble, I think got her second in before you did, but Ms. Lumley, Ms. Price also wanted to second.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, any further discussion? We'll have Vice President Price vote first on this.
Oh, yeah.
Secretary Garcia.
Yes.
Dr. Gonzalez. Dr. Gonzalez.
She's muted still.
Yeah, I can see.
Yeah, yes, sorry, I have a dog here that was barking, so I put it on mute.
Just snuggle the dog the way Secretary Garcia did earlier. You know, we can all do a little pet show and tell. Board Member Bose.
Yes.
And the president votes yes. You have unanimous approval. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you so much.
Okay, moving on to board discussion and possible action. And just as a point of privilege, and I do have one item on board discussion and possible action, but as a point of privilege, I want to return to what we went through when I was rather unceremoniously kicked out or whatever it was, which is the graduation rates, because this is really incredible news for the district. And, you know, we hope the reporters out there in the world are paying attention. But to hit 78%, to exceed our strategic plan goals, and you know, for those of us who were around when we passed the strategic plan, we were setting ambitious targets, and you know, there's really clear measurements in there, and that matters a lot. And we are outpacing the state, and this really does, I think, give, you know, a lot of credit is due to Dr. Garcia and her team, and exactly what she predicted, as she mentioned, would happen, did happen, in that we did see a little bit of a pullback as we basically recalibrated our measurement. And this was what was called out as a breakout year. And this is some really good evidence that we are breaking out, and that the hard work of so many people in this district is paying off. So I just want to underline, put in bold, lots of exclamation marks, this particular news, and say congratulations to Dr. Garcia and the whole team and all of the teachers and educational support professionals and everybody who is a part of this. Principals, absolutely, administrators, secretaries, bus drivers. You know, it takes the entire community. And you never know, it can be a bus driver who is paying attention and noticing and checking in on a kid to make sure that that kid is getting to school. And I truly believe that those individual relationships can often make a very big difference in students' lives. And so this great news really does belong to everyone. And I just want to thank everybody in the district for being a part of it and say congratulations. This is really incredible news, and let's keep going.
And thank you, Madam President. And I want to say thank you to the board, because you also support our initiatives. You support program that supports students to help them succeed, whether it's Adelante or Communities in Schools or the educate, all the employees, right, that you support and the programs that you support. And you're right, it is the whole community should be proud, because whether it's the chamber or whoever else is supporting us in the community, we all own this. And it's great news for the Santa Fe Public Schools. And when you were having your technical difficulties, I did mention that we will be giving you an in-depth board presentation, and just so proud of, like you said, the various departments and that have impacted this, whether it was special ed or Indian education. We see our students outperforming the state. And so proud of everyone, and thank you for giving us this moment to celebrate. And then in June, we will make a presentation to give you the nitty-gritty, but thank you for that acknowledgement. We appreciate it.
Yes, thank you very much. And it's true, our community supports the chambers and critically the families, and what a year, in the year that we can't properly celebrate our graduates yet. We've got such good news about graduation rates, and just as ever, it's worth the shout out to the class of 2020. We are thinking about you and figuring out lots of different possibilities for celebrating you, but all of us, I think, on the board, it's fair to say, are really proud of what you've achieved. And it comes down to every individual getting that diploma that adds up to that really good graduation rate. Okay, student and board discussion and possible action. I had placed on it student and family well-being, and just as ever, a reminder on the board discussion and possible action. This is here so that individual board members can place items on it and make requests of the superintendent, but the caveat being that we need 2 other board members to agree, because of course we as a board have a decent amount of authority, but as individuals we have none. And this may become more and more important as we move forward, just because we are having some painful cuts, as was presented in the budget at the district level. And I think we as board members need to all remember that when we make requests of the superintendent, who is the one employee that we have, often she needs to ask members of her team for help and that sort of thing. But when we make cuts at the district level, it's harder, frankly, to answer board requests, questions, and that sort of thing. My thought here, which if there are other board members, and of course, Dr. Garcia, I would invite you to object if this is an onerous request or anything like that, is that I would love an update, whether in the superintendent's updates or via email, however Dr. Garcia deems it appropriate, on what we're doing on student and family well-being. Just thinking about what seems to me in the zeitgeist of the moment, the emerging conversation around mental wellness and the more subtle effects of the stay-at-home orders and isolation. I'm seeing them in myself and in my family, and we have such an exceptional student wellness department. I would just love an update on what is happening in our district and what we're thinking, as this is something I spend a bunch of time reading about, how students are impacted. And I think we're seeing more and more mainstream articles about that student wellness issue. So, Dr. Garcia, I don't know if you want to comment, but again, sticking to my own principles and rules in order to make this request, I'd love to have 2 other board members agree, and for you to say it's not a ridiculously onerous request.
The Vice President Price.
This is Lorraine Price, the This is Lorraine
Hello.
Price.
Yes.
I think that is an onerous request at this time of year, as among other things, the departments are closing down because the school year is closing down, and I think it's too general, and I don't particularly agree that the wellness department is as excellent as you seem to think it is, but I do think at this time, maybe at the beginning of the next school year, that might make more sense, but it's much too broad and much too general.
Okay. That is Vice President Price's view. And just to say, my thinking was that, and there's not necessarily a time line on.
I'm having a difficult time hearing you.
Okay, I was saying, in my view, there's not necessarily a strict timeline on this, but I would like to know what we're doing in preparation for the new school year, because this is, in my view, a significant issue.
Madam President?
Yes, Secretary Garcia.
I agree with you. I think whatever the superintendent can actually bring forward to us, for whatever it's worth, I think I'm okay with you bringing this forward for some sort of an item at the next agenda or at the beginning of the fall semester. I'm okay with it. Thank you.
Okay. Dr. Gonzalez?
I am okay with it too. I think it's an important issue that we should know about.
Madam President, Dr. Garcia, members of the board, this is Sarah. I also agree that it is an important thing. I appreciate Vice President Price's voting that this is a busy time, and if there's not a specific time frame that you're looking at, I think that having that information before the start of next school year is important. I think that you and I travel in the same social circles online, and having young children in my house, there is a lot of uncertainty, and it's because our kids are here around us more, it's overflowing into the whole family. And so we all, and I suspect from what I'm seeing that there are many parents feeling nervous, hesitant, uncertain, needing some reassurance and just looking for a little bit more security and connection. And so I think that all of those things, especially depending on what fall school looks like, that it might be time to move to the next level versus what we were having here, which I think was wildly successful, but still kind of in survival mode, that it might be important to address the next level of issues. So I do think that it's important.
Madam President, also, if I may, this is Rudy once again. I agree with Sarah and Dr. Carmen as well.
And this is Lorraine Price. Again, I strongly feel that this is something that is too general right now, and that it needs to be thought through. And I get tired of sticking my hand into a bowl of Jell-O. We need to be specific, and we need to have. And I think at this time, as we're closing down the school year, is the wrong time for this kind of, yes, I believe, onerous task for the superintendent or for her staff. And to start off by saying, we shouldn't be asking the superintendent and her staff as we're cutting, to come up with this, I feel, onerous task is too soon. It needs to be thought through. I'm tired of these generalized kind of things that we're asking of the superintendent and the staff. That's just my personal opinion as a board member. But I just need to say that and say it vociferously for what it's worth. I'm used to being the odd person out on these kinds of discussions, but nonetheless, that's how I feel.
Madam President, this is Rudy.
Secretary Garcia. Yep.
I totally respect the vice president, Well, I'm watching the news. Lorraine Price's opinion, and I think it's a start that we need to start with, because sometimes now these days, parents don't realize the importance of educators. So like, wow, I miss my teachers. Yes, why? Because you go drop off your kid at school, we feed them, we educate them, and pick them up. But I think it's a start. Let's move forward. We don't have to have anything totally in writing, but let's just start looking at this. Is my opinion. I totally respect Lorraine Price's comments. Thank you.
Thank you. And, you know, just to be clear, my goal in being somewhat general is to leave the latitude to Dr. Garcia and her team. Dr. Garcia, it looked like you were ready to speak.
Oh, Madam well, one, I was having trouble hearing you, so it's kind of like I can't hear you. But I did.
Also, it's not just me. The last two speakers, it was really broken up. Yeah.
It's just the connection and the volume on my computer.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I'm trying to turn that up. Let me see if that helps any.
I hear you clearly.
Well, that's because you're hearing me from my speaker, from my phone. But what I appreciate, Vice President Price, your perspective. I also appreciate where the board members are coming from. It's interesting, you know, Ms. O'Brien and I have been in communication just recently where we were talking about provision of support to the students over the summer. There are many providers available. And we talked about, you know,
Actually, I'm sorry, but that's not true. There aren't very many providers available.
Well, we have services and connections with Sky, with PMS, but I didn't get to finish my sentence, and that was that we talked about the provision of support from counselors, and we talked about, you know, what would that cost and how would we make that work, and could that also be part of, as we look at COVID-19 and the CARES Act, how would that fit in terms of support? But there has been considerable work done in this area, and what I would like to do is to get with Ms. O'Brien and with Ms. Zink and look at what we have in place, what would it take for us to be able to, not the next board meeting, but in June, I think would be a time when we could give you an overview of where we're at and where we're going with that. We provide a lot of resources online, but not everybody accesses that information, right? And we just recently sent something out to the staff, again, about how do you take care of yourself? What are the things you need to think about, and sharing that with students and with the counselors. So, you know, we connect a lot with a lot of national resources that we also bring into the district. But, you know, is it reaching everybody? I don't know. I think everybody is very, very stressed out. And I think people who are either working away from home, they have a whole set of stressors because they're not there to support their children. People who are working from home have a whole nother set of stressors trying to balance work and helping their kids. And it's, I feel and sense that stress from every level in our district and in our community. And I think it's just society and the world as a whole. We are in the middle of a pandemic, and as much as we all try to put on a happy face and do what we need to do and get the job done, I'm just going to go to a thing I saw on CNN where I think Chris Como and others have started this thing. How are you really? Because we ask people, how are you? And everybody says, oh, I'm doing okay. I'm hanging in there. You know, I'm doing the best I can. But no, how are you really? And you start finding out that there's depression, there's anxiety, there's worries about the future. Just going to the grocery store is, I think, an event in and of itself where you don't know what you're going to run into when you go to the store, right? And unloading your groceries isn't what unloading our groceries used to be. And so it just permeates everything, and we don't really acknowledge it. And so I do think that we can look at where we're at. I'll talk to Sue O'Brien. I'll get back with President Noble, and we'll look at what seems reasonable in June.
I also want to say, if you think that we have the resources out there that I think we don't have, try calling one of these places that say that they will be able to provide services to especially parents and students who are troubled, and see what kind of answer you get. You'll be surprised at how negative and how lacking in support they are. It's one thing for us to say that they're out there. It's another thing to try to use them. And you will find, I think, not surprisingly, that they're as troubled as the rest of us are. And having had spent 3 months in my house by myself, and not being able to go to the grocery store and having to deal with food, I understand all that. I'm just saying that it's not something that you can come up with in 2 weeks.
Okay. I think we're ready to move on. Thank you, Dr. Garcia. I appreciate it. On to advanced planning. We will be together next week on Tuesday in a change up, just to keep us all on our toes. On Tuesday for a study session of the finance subcommittee, looking at our budget. And then we will likely have a special board meeting on Thursday. Both are scheduled from 4 to 6 p.m. Is that still amenable to the staff and board members? Anything need to change there, Dr. Garcia?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I saw a thumbs up from Rudy.
That Thursday is the 28th, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, I may be late to the meeting, but I would try to be on time.
Okay.
What about board members? Jose, do you have a thumbs up?
Okay, and then we are scheduled for a meeting on June 2nd as well. So, you know, we'll see a lot of each other in these little video tiles. Anything else on advanced planning? Dr. Gonzalez?
Tuesday,
Madam President.
Sorry, go ahead.
Madam President, Dr. Garcia, members of the board. You know, one of the question I get all the time is, are we going to be back in school in the fall? And I don't know what to, you know, I just say we've got to wait and see what the state says, what other things, what other, you know, we've got to look at our district and make a decision. But do you know when or what I can tell people?
Madam President, members of the board, as I said earlier in the meeting, the Secretary of Education has convened a statewide task force. And they are giving recommendations to the secretary and to the governor about how we reopen school. But I think a lot of it will also depend on the numbers and the practicality of what the health orders look like, of what is feasible or not. But I do feel that a lot of how we open and what is done will be based on state guidelines, not necessarily a local board decision.
I did hear that Albuquerque Public Schools was going to start August 15th. Is that right?
Well, everybody has their due date, their date of when they're starting, and their own calendar, as we always do. Our calendar is when, Ms. Zink, when do we start in Santa Fe?
I don't remember. I can look it up right now if you'd like.
It's early.
It's like
I think it's like August 10th or something like that. We start fairly early in August. So they start the 12th, we start the 10th, but everybody has their calendar, but that really doesn't mean anything. It really, we've already started on our preparedness, which we had in our original plan, but we have to look at the health orders. But so much of this, I think, is going to be dictated by the Department of Health and the Public Education Department. Now, are we going to have K-5 plus? Again, that's going to depend on funding. Are we going to have extended learning? Yes. For the 1920 school year, we have 10 additional days, and we have many schools that are participating, but that will be virtual. It will not be in person. What's going to happen with graduation? We get asked that all the time. We'll have the virtual and the parade where they'll get their diplomas, but then we will have an in-person whenever the health orders will allow that. And also depending on the time of year, and for college attendees, we'll want to make sure it's a time, whether it's during fall break or winter break or in the spring, so they could participate. So a lot of unknowns. And I think that's what we have to tell people. We really don't know. We don't know if it's going to be a hybrid. I don't know if it's going to be double sessions. I really don't know. I can't
Okay,
even
thank
guess.
you.
Sorry, it sounded like two people tried to speak at once, but I'm not sure who. Dr. Gonzalez, why don't you go ahead? Did you have something?
I know mine was already taken care of. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else?
Just really quick, can somebody call somebody to lower the wind and get rid of the moths?
We don't have any moths here, which is really nice.
Well, where you at? Because I missed your background in the Bahamas, but we have this crazy wind over here. But
Well, the wind stirs up the pollen, which is like my allergies are gone crazy.
Okay, well, Madam
Anything
President.
else? Nope. Well, thank you all very much. We are adjourned. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
I'm really
Night,
hurt that
everybody.
nobody cares about my allergies.
All right, the meeting's over. Thank you.